Are you feeling like you're lacking some masculinity? Do you want to know how to be a real man in a relationship? I'm going to show you how in this video. Alright guys, this isn't just a rah, be a man video. I'm actually a licensed clinical social worker. I work with men every day who are struggling with their masculinity. And I know how to rebuild masculinity, and I know the outcomes of real good masculinity in a relationship. So listen up, because you're going to want to hear this. When we talk about how to be a real man, it's important to understand the difference between femininity and masculinity. Now, femininity isn't bad, and masculinity is not bad either. In fact, the two of them together create this polarity that really supports a relationship. It breeds passion and intimacy. If you show up weak, if you show up not masculine, then that polarity doesn't exist. So let me explain a little bit about femininity and masculinity. So masculinity is like the tree. The tree is grounded, it's set, it's firm, there's strength there. Femininity is like the wind. It's creative, it's free-flowing, it's moving. If the wind blows and the tree knocks over, then the wind doesn't feel very safe. If the wind blows and the tree can't handle that and pushes back really hard, then the feminine doesn't feel very safe either. So one element of real masculinity is groundedness and strength. So it's important that you know who you are and that you're grounded in order to be a real man. So let's look at this pendulum. This illustrates the tree and the wind analogy. And I see it all the time. Guys come into me and they say, Brandon, I want more intimacy. I want more connection. I want my wife to want me more. But they're showing up not masculine. And what do you know? The feminine isn't really attracted to them. This is how they show up. A lot of times they show up as the pleaser yes man. That they don't know who they are, they just comply. They become what they think their wife wants them to be or their partner wants them to be. But what they're not showing up as is authentic. They're not showing up as honest. So there's weakness there. Their feminine doesn't know who they actually really are. And this actually leads to a lot of resentment. When they become the yes man, when they're trying to get their worth and they're consuming their wife for their self-worth, they start to resent their wife. What do you know? That doesn't really create intimacy and connection in a relationship. A lot of times what will happen is they'll swing over to the other side of this pendulum and they'll become the jerk, the I don't care man. You know what? I do everything for you all the time. I comply and you still don't want me. You still don't love me. So now I don't care. Now I'm going to do my thing. That's the jerk man. He's not strong. He's not powerful. That's not a real man. That's a man hurting and in pain and showing up weak still. So in between these two, what does real masculinity look like? So this is what real masculinity is. A real man is honest. They know who they are and they can speak their truths. A real man is empathetic. They can connect to the feminine. They can hold their pain. They can hold space for the feminine without getting knocked off their rocker and without showing up weak and falling over. A real man is authentic because a real man trusts himself. He knows who he is, so he can show up real. He can show up authentic. These things show strength. The feminine is attracted to real masculinity. A man who's honest, empathetic, authentic, and trusting himself and knowing who he is. Before I move on to the next point, if you're finding this video helpful, then please share it with somebody. Okay, I have 3 questions for you guys to ask yourself. And really evaluate these questions, depending on where you're at, is going to show how much real, authentic, good masculinity you're showing up in your relationship with. First off, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Is your relationship with God intact? Do you trust yourself? Do you know what your truths are? Do you know who you are? The next question, I just said it, is do you trust yourself? Knowing who you are is one thing, but trusting that who you are is okay and good is important. It breeds confidence, and confidence, healthy, good confidence is masculinity. The third question is, do you understand your purpose? Now, a woman, believe it or not, you guys, a woman would rather have a man who understands his purpose than a man who always gives her what she wants. Now that you know what it means to be a real man in a relationship, you've got to check out my other video, What Does It Mean to Be Your Authentic Self? This will help you to understand your real masculinity.